Hello, good evening. Welcome to another video. This is the month of love in the pagan world or in the world, and we are going to define love. What is love in your perspective? So I'm going to give my perspective and then I'm going to use the definitions which I got from the web or the dictionaries. So for me, love is to care for another person. Yeah, love is caring for someone else. Okay, so we the first definitions of love usually include emotions, intense emotions, and things like that. But we are going to look deeper into what the limitations of involving emotions primarily in the definition of love. So I was listening to a sermon by Miles Monroe. It is called Misunderstanding Love, Part 1 and Part 2. This video will have a part 2 where we will discuss the misunderstanding love but from a book, or defining love but from a book. So this one is mainly from search engines and from a sermon. So Miles Monroe said that marriage is the most important decision every human will make after choosing to follow Christ. So I think that's an important thing to say. Marriage, the person you marry, the person you choose to live with, the person you choose to date, the person you choose to love is going to impact you even more than, maybe more than God himself. And in the long history of the nation of Israel, as recorded in the Bible, whenever they chose away from God, they were often led to idolatry, to sin, and in some instances, they were led away from God. We can think of somebody like Solomon, somebody like Samson, even Adam himself. For the most part here, women seem to be the problem from the cases, but at least they show that the person you choose to marry affects you more, a lot. So marriage is the most important decision every human will make after choosing to follow Christ. So that's point one. In any nation, whenever somebody wants to learn how to drive a car, I used to be a driver instructor, the part for theory, and for automatic cars, I used to work in a driving school. So when you come as a kurutu, as a newbie, you'll be checking through what to know, what to expect. You might watch a video, you might see some simulations of how to drive, what you expect inside a car, and things like that. Then on the same day or on day two, you might go to the field. You go try a car, there's a brake, there's a clutch if it's a manual car, an accelerator, there's a steering wheel, there are the windshield or the mirrors and all that. You got to know how to go forward, how to move a vehicle. So there are all these things which you are trained to do. And then there's a simulation of a city called the model town board, which is usually problematic for students. And then there are the road signs which you're supposed to learn also. So in about a month or maybe two, if you're slow, you're expected to have known how to drive a car on your own. You can start, you can stop, you can park, you can reverse, you can drive up, you can drive uphill, you can drive downhill. Driving downhill is easy, but you can start a car which has been stopped on a steep slope, on a uphill, that's the test many students usually fail, starting a car uphill. So whenever the government wants to allow you to use cars in its roads, there's a really deliberate process of training you. It can take a month or even a year to get just a license. And you can actually fail the test, so you have to go back again to check your lessons, then come back. And if you crash a car, or if you hit someone on the road, if you do some mistakes on the road, the points which were attached to your driving license actually go down, and you might actually be debarred from driving cars ever again. Okay, so the same government which has all these stringent stipulations on driving cars allows you to get married to someone, immediately you decide to get married to someone. I'm not saying that the government should decide who to marry or matters of the spiritual matters, matters of the soul, matters of love, and the government, church, and state. I think we are clear about that. But there should be at least some level of, should I say, erudition required for someone to get married. You should know how to live with people. You should at least have read a book. You should have attended a seminar on how to please another person, how to care for another person, how to stay with them, how not to kill your spouse. I think that should be a topic. And then there's some American who was suggesting that divorces should be illegal because in the marriage vows, you swear that, or you vow before God that for better, for worse, in health or in sickness, for richer, for poor, I will stay. And then when things go south, you immediately back away. Studies show that women initiate divorce in about 80% of the times. Okay, and if the woman is educated, it's 90% of the times, and if the woman is not educated, it's 70% of the times. So does that mean you should not marry an educated woman? What do you think? So think about it that way. If for you to drive a car, you have to meet people like me who will train you how to drive a car. How much more about the most important decision of your life? Should it be more stringent? Then from the sermon, um, Monroe says that it is knowledge which helps you to drive a car. It's not so much about willing or desire. You have to know how to drive a car. Then you can drive a car. And if perchance you wreck the car, you can actually buy another car and drive again. Why? Because you're competent. You know how to, you know what to do. You know the ignition, you know where to put the fuel, where to charge, how to check the carburetors and oil and all that. You know how to clean it. But whenever people are damaged in a relationship, they don't usually know where to start because they are majorly clueless on how to start again, start over. But for cars, that's easy. You actually say that some people's relationships or some people's marriages last longer than their cars do, which is true, may be funny. So in the Bible, there is no commandment to be married. You're not required to be married. You're not required to be married in order to be happy. But in the Bible, we see that many people, or at least all humans, are expected to get married, apart from when it's an express command of God not to, for some cases. But there is no moral attachment to getting married or not getting married. In the past, the idea of propagating your parental seed was important. In this age, I think people have just given up, so nobody really cares about that anymore. But again, there's no commandment to get married. You don't have to get married to go to heaven. It's a choice. So you can choose for it or against it. In the previous age, again, as we said in the other video, marriage was more of an economic or a financial gain, a security really, because people used to die young. In the time of the reformers, the life expectancy was actually less than 45 years. So you had to get married quick. You had to get married quick. Even in ancient Rome, when the Roman war machinery was always rolling, men would die really young. So you're expected to marry quickly. Okay. So Hosea chapter 4 verse 6, I think we know the verse which says, can I really recall it? My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And then it goes to say, because you have rejected me, I will reject you and your children and your children's children, and there shall be no priest you shall have no priests for me. So I think that's the fatality of not having knowledge. If you don't know how to drive a car, no matter how beautiful you are, if you get inside the car, you're going to wreck it. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt everyone else. And if the car is faulty, you need to know when it is faulty to go and repair. If there's a white smoke in a car is a dangerous thing. So you should know what to check, what to do, stuff like that. So do we know how to troubleshoot a marriage? Do we know John Gottman wrote this book, The Seven Principles of Marriage. Then he said they're the four horsemen of the apocalypse, which shows that a marriage is about to fail. Do you know what those are? Have you ever studied? He also suggests that the many marriages actually fail or divorce at the inception of the first child. Do you know why that is the case? And what can be done about that? Or, as we said, you're delusional about it. You're special. You're God's favorite child. Okay, so he said from the sermon, Miles Monroe said that love is a force generated by a decision. When you decide to, I can use this example. I used to stammer when I was a kid. I used to get petrified by seeing my face on video. And then I thought, maybe why not do this? I could learn how to speak better. I could learn how to speak more confidently. I believe in the competence confidence ideal instead of confidence is not the solution for me. It's competence which will lead to confidence. I read that from Chamorro Premuzic, a certain professor from Harvard. So I thought I could learn how to be more competent to this. And surprisingly, nowadays I don't get mortified by the thought of sitting in front of a camera. I don't even seem to notice that I had an issue with my lip or that I used to look awkward. So love is a force generated by a decision. If I can get to love doing videos, how much more can I get? Can I get to love a human being? Okay. Then the second part says, love is a choice. You choose to love. Let's take the case of romantic love. Whenever you choose to love a girl, as for men like me, there are always competing spectacles. There will be a girl with a better hip, better breasts, better faces, even better philosophy, even a better understanding of the word of God and the spirit of prophecy. There'll always be someone better than you, and there'll always be somebody worse than you. So in the same way, there'll always be somebody better than your girlfriend and somebody worse than your girlfriend. So does that mean anytime you find better, then you should go for that better? There's usually this ideal by the red pill and the feministic movement where you're supposed to develop yourself to your best level, to your best capacity, and then now let things fall as they may. Find the highest you can pick in the rungs of sexuality. Is it called the sexual marketplace? Something like that. Sexual market value or social market value, something like that. So do you believe in that? Should you develop yourself, then finally, sell yourself to the market for the highest market price? I don't know. I think it's a moral thing. If you want to, why not? And if you don't want to, why not? Then he also says that love is an act of the will. You decide to love. You decide to love. I have sisters, and if they're watching this, they are not angels. Sometimes you wake up and they are all over the place. Some days you wake up and they have made breakfast for you. They bring it to you. So you have to, like, I choose to love them when they are doing well, when they're doing badly. And the same way, they choose to love me. I'm sure that there are days I'm an idiot. There are days I'm a complete nuisance, but they don't throw me under the bus. Okay, so love is an act of the will. So Jesus said in the Bible that you can actually decide to love your enemy. Imagine loving your enemy. I don't think I've ever loved my enemy. Maybe. But God says, love your enemy. Then the last two phrases, love is a debt you owe, because we love because God first loved us. I'm not so good with memorization, so there's a verse which says we okay, I can just narrate what it says, that we love because Christ first loved us. So it's some sort of, we are paying forward. We because my parents protected him when he was a child, then he protected me, then I'll protect my own child. So it's kind of paying forward. So because God loved me when as I am, then I love someone else as they are. Of course, love does not require that you should love someone as they are forever. If nobody is willing to change, let's say, their negative traits, you're not required to love such a person. Yeah. So then lastly, love is a law, or love is a command, in this sense that we are commanded to love one another. I think there was the summarization of the commandments of God is love God and love your neighbor, okay, as you love yourself. So love is actually a command. Love is a command. So that's the first part. Then in the Greek language, there were some definitions of love back then. We're going to do that, then we shall be done with the video for now. So the types of love in the Greek language, number one was eros. Eros is the passionate, sexual, intense kind of love. We can say the love which, if you watch a typical video on YouTube, it's video from Hollywood on love, it's usually about eros. There is a lot of exciting fleetiness, instability in the love. You see someone for the first time and you're dead on them. Then in the next video, you fall in love with somebody else in the same order. So that's eros. Eros is passionate, sexual, romantic. If you think about the age of the romantics, the romantic poets, it was majorly eros. Okay, so it is intense, it's exciting, it's fleeting, and it's unstable. Then number two, we have philia, which is affectionate, friendly, loyal. Philia is usually described as brotherly love. So the love you have for your sister, for your brother, for another man, another woman. So philia is affectionate, friendly, and loyal love. It is based on mutual goodwill, companionship, and trust. The love we feel for our friends, our family, and our community. So it's more of you give me this, I give you that. You are nice to me, I'll be nice to you. So that's philia. Then we have storge. It is a Greek word, so it's storge. Storge is the natural, instinctive, and familiar love. When you have a child, or when you have, let's say, an offspring, you're going to love them. You're going to want to provide for them. If love is caring for someone else, so storge is that natural, instinctive, and familiar love. Even in the animal kingdom, when animals of the same order see each other, when they are other animals, they're going to show up for their kind. So that's storge. Storge is the natural, instinctive, and familiar love. It is the love we feel for our parents, children, and relatives. It is unconditional, it's protective, and it's comforting. And that's storge. We've done eros, which is passionate love, passionate sexual fleeting. We've done philia, which is brotherly love. Then we are now doing storge, which is instinctive. Should I say, I think the typical case is that of a mother and a child. Then we shall go to the fourth, which is agape. Agape is the selfless, altruistic, and unconditional love. Think about a holy God loving a sinner like me. A willful, deliberate sinner, by the way. Think of God loving someone like me, someone unlovable in the divine terms. That is agape. It's an, should I say, some sort of unrequited, undeserved love. Okay, so agape is the selfless, altruistic, and unconditional love. It is the love we feel for humanity, for nature, for God. It is not based on any personal gain, but on the desire to do good and to help others. And we can linger here for a moment. If you never reach this level in a relationship where you love your partner without expecting anything in return, your relationship is not going to stand. Because no matter the person you choose to love, they're going to be a bother to you. There are days they're going to be your enemy twice a day or even twice in an hour. So if your love is supported on eros, philia, ludus, or these other things, if it's not supported on the willful desire to love altruistically, it's not going to stand. So this is the highest form of love you can give to someone. Think about your son, for instance. If you have a child in future, and then they go to drink, to whoredom, and all that, they do whatever you would not wish for them to do. Do you disown them? Do you kill them? Do you hire thugs to kill them? No. If you're normal, you're going to pray for them. You're going to maybe try to get a therapist and stuff like that. There are videos which show that it's really hard to help the people we love. It's easy for me as a medical student to tell someone to stop drinking and they'll stop. But for someone I know, a cousin, a brother, they don't listen to me. I think it's puzzling, really. It's hard to help somebody you know, but it's easy to help somebody you don't know. There's always that. So agape is that selfless, altruistic love. If this is the love which maintains all kinds of relationship, because again, we are human. You are human. I am human. There are days you're going to be a real bother. There are days you're going to be weak. There are days you're going to be sick. So there'll be no benefit in loving you. There'll be no benefit in maintaining a relationship towards you. If eros is the standard, what if you get amputated? What if you lose your job if you're a man? What happens? So agape is only love which stands, which sees us through the difficult days. Okay, where if your wife or if a girlfriend offers to buy you something, you actually say thank you, because it's not an expectation. It's something they have gone out of their way to do. If your wife cooks for you, you say thank you for cooking for me. Why? Because again, it's my duty to cook for myself. So if they do you that, they're doing you a favor. You don't owe them. You don't your wife does not owe you a sandwich. Okay. Then the other kind of love is ludus. Again, this is from Latin, so ludus, storge, that's the pronunciation. Ludus is the playful, flirtatious, and casual love. Think of two lovers, young lovers, playing. There's a case of Isaac and Rebecca in the Bible when they were spotted by the king. Was he Abimelech? They were sporting. So sporting is the ludus, the playful, flirtatious, and casual love. Okay, it is the love we feel when you have fun, when we tease or joke with someone. It is not very serious or committed, but it can be enjoyable and stimulating. What I'm getting from this, or what you can be getting from this, is all these things are kind of integrated. If I can play with my sister, that's ludus. I can love them when they are unlovable, and then I can love them when there is some reciprocity, that's philia. Okay, so ludus is playful, flirtatious, fun times. Okay, then you have pragma. Pragma now is the opposite of ludus. It's the pragma from where you derive the word pragmatic. So you expect it to be solid more. So pragma is the practical, rational, and long-term love. Practical, rational, and long-term love. It is a love we feel when we have a compatible, supportive, and respectful partner. It is based on common goals, values, and interests rather than passion or emotion. I think you can think about loving a business partner or loving a colleague at the workplace. So it's pragma. We want to treat a patient. So read about cancer stages. If you do that, then we are going to love each other. That's pragma. Okay. So pragma is the practical, rational, or long-term love. It is the love we feel when we have a compatible, supportive, and respectful partner. It is based on a commonality of goals, values, interests, rather than passion or emotion. Again, emotions are not entirely to be described, but they are useful. They add to the relationship, but they don't define a relationship because our emotions are fleeting. If our emotions change every 5 minutes, maybe sometime in a few. I remember that there was this time there's somebody who would pester me. So the first time I saw them, I felt blood up my neck. So that's anger. That's going from 0 to 100 really quickly. So emotions are not to be trusted. If you see a girl for a man and you are turned on physically, well, you would see another girl and get turned on also. So can you trust that really? But emotions are additive to the concept of a relationship, but they're not definitive. You can't say I love someone because I feel warmly when they're around. Of course, it's nice to feel warmly. It's good to feel warmly. It's actually a positive sign, if I can say. But it's not definitive. You can't say just because you feel nice about someone, then you should go in with them in a relationship. Then, second, lastly, we have philautia. It is the self-love, self-esteem, self-compassion. It is the love we feel for ourselves, our abilities, and our achievements. It is not egotistical, but healthy and balanced. So, a love for self, regard for self is called philautia. I didn't get the pronunciation correctly, but it is philia, philia, PHI, philia. So philautia is a self-love, self-esteem. So again, this one should be based on something. Okay, there is a there is a philosopher by the name Richard Taylor. He wrote the book Restoring Pride. Then he said, pride is a justified love for oneself. So love for self, which is based on nothing, is again delusional and unhealthy. So love should be based on something you did, something you. If you're aiming towards something, then love yourself. If you're destroying yourself, you should not love yourself. You should censor yourself and get back to reason. Then lastly, we have mania. Mania is the obsessive, possessive, and dependent love. Think again about the typical fairy tale where there's a girl who is dead in a prince. That is mania. So mania is obsessive, possessive, and dependent love. It is the love we feel when we are insecure, anxious, and jealous of our partner. It is not healthy, sustainable, but harmful and destructive. You love someone so much that you go and destroy their certificates. That's mania. So hope this was useful. We shall do a religious perspective next time.